I'm here with Marcus Dunstan,
Hello.
the director of All My Friends Are Dead. Um, I guess we'll start off with because you've done a lot of writing, you've done some writing and directing, and this you
Yeah.
just directed. What goes into the thought process of what job you're going to take for this particular movie?
So I was very fortunate that I've collaborated as a co-writer, and I work with Patrick Melton. So he and I have been in a partnership of writing, creating, producing now for 20 years. And one of our favorite collaborators that we work with is Kevin Greuter. Kevin Greuter is like the Nicholas Meyer of the Saw movies. He's been there through all of them, but when he steps up to the plate, he makes just really, really great stories, and like it's just awesome. I love it when he comes in. So he was the original director of All My Friends Are Dead. And when Saw 10's obligations superseded that, there was a vacancy because All My Friends Are Dead as a production was still coming together. So I'm grateful he nominated me to jump into the ring. I auditioned for it. And I was fortunate enough to then read Josh Sims and Jessica Seraflom's screenplay. When I did that, holy cow, this this was a voice from another dimension. These were people that I felt like I was eavesdropping on. This was something that was a murder mystery, and I love murder mysteries. I had never done a murder mystery. That was scary. Scary good. Then there was this twist I did not see coming. Oh, yeah. Then there was also a heart. And I thought, okay, I want this. I want to protect this. I want in. How can I help? Let's go.
Oh, well, also with this, your previous movie, Unhuman.
Yeah.
And like even the Feast movies which you wrote and the Saw movies, like they all have this kind of like really violent, really fun kind of feel to them. And the I'm guessing the script was really similar to your own sensibilities.
I mean, the scripts when they're written, yes, like Joss and Jessica had a nice tone that was very nimble with that. And I want to say there's a particular scene with a squirrel where I'm like, okay, that is that's a big swing right away. And what I loved about the confidence of that swing was that it was entirely made from a point of view like the characters were written to not be confined by the expectations of a by the numbers kill the young folks. No, we were going to spend enough time with each person to know them, to maybe recognize them from our lives, from some stop along the way, if you will. So that scene to me became almost the most important because it had to be humorous, it had to be a little psychedelic, it had to also be informative, and it was a chance to simply, with zero special effects, big wonder, whatnot, spend enough time and get to know somebody that maybe if they do befall a killer, oh, we start to feel something. And that scene represents a giant tonal shift because what happens after that is that horror movie character that's been waiting, that's been lurking, that's been watching all these people get sucked into that glass window to nowhere of their phone while they turn their back to the rest of the dark of the world is waiting. And it is after that scene that the horror movie says, I'll take it from here.
I do like that squirrel scene. That was kind of like I'm watching going, oh, okay, we're doing this now.
We're doing it. I want to share. This is the first time I brought this up in the interview, so I'm glad I get a chance to. Dan Rubin. Dan Rubin is an investor, and all my friends are dead. Dan Rubin is his bread and butter comes from marijuana branding, and so the opening of All My Friends Are Dead is an animated commercial. So it feels like you're in a theater and whatnot, but you cannot market marijuana with a commercial throughout I think the United States, and I don't think you can do so even in France. But guess what? A la the Big Kahuna Burger of a certain other awesome director's universe, the Tarantino verse, we have the goat. And the goat actually exists. The goat is a brand of marijuana that the character guy, who is the one who likes to celebrate with every molecule of his being. So there is a version of this movie. A version meaning like if you are so inclined, if you do enjoy having a green screen when you watch a movie, every time you hear the utterance of the word goat, and maybe you would take a hit off the goat, which you can get from Dan Rubin's store, it's called the goat. By the time the character guy runs afoul of our bad guy, You will be flying. Dan
Nice.
Rubin, the GOAT. Thank you, Dan, for giving us not only a wonderful budget uptick, but really inspired all the ideas. And his team made that commercial at the opening. So I kind of like that our the traditional, there's a traditional expectation of a character that does drugs and kind of has a particular way, but brought to life by the great, the graceful, the kind Jack Dope Smith. No, I liked him. I recognize that friend. I've been on that friend's couch when my day fell apart. That's the friend that put me back together.
Well, definitely heard of drinking games. I think this is the first smoking game I've heard of. So,
I like the idea of the smoke along. It's got to be there. That's why I felt like that's pretty darn rad because anymore, hey, why not? Go green.
yeah, yeah, why not? What's your favorite like? So when you do write, obviously you didn't write this one, but you did write some bunch of other movies. Like, what kind of goes through your head as you're deciding to put a screenplay together, or as you're like, do you have the full movie mapped out, or do you just kind of like have a start idea where you're going and just kind of see where you go from there?
Oddly enough, I tend to hear it first, and it might be a piece of music, and it might be a song. It might be even something from just the wild or hearing something in nature, really. The negotiation of terms we have with things that have been here long before us and whatnot, making a sound that we can never see the source of, but it envelops us. Then thinking of like, okay, now what is the intent of this feeling? Is this a story and would this feeling maintain? So All My Friends Are Dead is a Richter scale where it's humor, it's drama, it's whatnot. You're really learning every facet of these lives before some are so graphically taken. And in the creation process, if I kind of know what it sounds like, then I know where I'm going. And then I'll try to stay in that feeling. And then I have found that that will help inform me where I would like to go with kind of charting that path. And speaking of sound, everybody in hashtag Amfad, All My Friends Are Dead, wore multiple hats. So the actor, a ringer who I've worked with 4 times, Michaela Russell, co-wrote 33 original songs. So Michaela hails from South Africa, and where she was a daytime soap performer. She was a CNN correspondent. She was an actor of drama and whatnot. So to collaborate on this and not only have the great actor, but then she reached back to these marvelous musicians in South Africa and produced a soundtrack, a needle drop that was also a character reflection. We have jokes that are song lyric dependent that had to be written and shot first, written second, and then layered in last so we could puppeteer them. There is a beats per minute aesthetic to the culture we wanted to go for in this. And that is, let's say you're in a car going 100 miles an hour. Every movie, every bit of stimulus, everything on your phone's like that billboard that goes. Boom. We wanted to create something that not only had the look and the high intensity saturation to get your eye to earn your eye's attention, but then when you hear it, we hang on to it, and we need to hang on to it for all 91 minutes because hashtag AmFed, All My Friends Are Dead does not stop at the end credit. You got to watch the credits because we've got more twists than a pretzel, and we're punching for your eyes until the bloody end.
I I didn't pick up on any of that, but it'd be good to go back and kind of like point that out. What other kind of details you got in this that because I'm dumb, a lot of things go right over my head.
Oh,
So.
whoa. I want to share with you something that someone once said to me. No, you are not.
Oh, I
And
am, but
don't
go
you?
on.
No, 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 no. You can't aim in. Otherwise, what's that going to do for you? Don't you dare believe that. No, you're not. Guess what? You're our lighthouse. We need each other to exist in this thing. Congratulations. You're here. You get to shine light on something that we absolutely adore. You are not. You are there. No, you're at the top of the mountain for me, man.
All right. Well, I'm the smartest person in the world, but
There
regardless,
you go.
I didn't pick up on these details. So, where are some other details that you have kind of hidden? And do these come during the writing process, or these come in like you're shooting and like, hey, what if we did this? This would be a cool thing to add.
In some cases, because once I realized how gifted this cast was, and we hope for that, but Julian Haig, who plays LB, was able to get the cast together. And this is Jennifer Enns, this is Ali Fumiko Whitney, aforementioned Jack Dope Smith, Cardi Wong, Justin Derrickson. Um, and then they were of Vancouver. So they were up in Vancouver. He put together a Zoom. So they play the crux of the Cabal, the friend group, that then Jade, who is domestic, and Ali Fumiko Whitney is also like LA, or I'm sorry, New York and Vancouver, where I think works in both. And then JoJo, we're kind of on the outside of that friend group. So when we showed up, that was something that had already taken flight. So to get to the root of your question, okay, now I knew we could do that. Now, courtesy of Shooting in Order, that was a lifesaver. And that's Kirk Shaw, that's Stephanie Rennie. We shot in order so we could develop and find other tones. We could take a scene and say, like, all right, the script is asking, I think, here for a dramatic interpretation. But now the cameras might be able to tell us another bit of subtext to plant some seeds, to cast some doubt, for some suspicion. And hey, if we come up with maybe something more acerbic to say, some dark humor, if we can earn that in there, great. We will try all of this. And then if it wasn't for the ace collaborator, Andrew Coots, he's the one who then takes all of this material and creates what is the meal of it. And it was so wonderful to have all of this wonderful marble to shape into the statue that is Amfad, All My Friends Are Dead.
All right. Well, end with this. We have a segment where we like to ask people such as yourselves, looking for movie recommendations, and these would be movies that are either personal to you or a movie that's like that movie's really good and literally no one talks about it. What's a movie you would like to recommend?
There's one that far too few people saw that I absolutely love that's recent, and this is easy. It's The Fall Guy. I thought The Fall Guy was wonderful. It was, do you know what? I watched The Fall Guy with my parents, and when the lights came up, my mom said, I don't even know if I want to watch something after this right away because I like how I feel. I love how I feel. That's high praise for any piece of entertainment. That's huge. I also highly recommend a movie from the early 80s called The Hidden. And if you haven't seen The Hidden by Jack Shoulder, that's a great surprise. Also in modern and streaming, the if folks just want to drop in and be blown away by directing, acting, and surprise, the season 3 finale of the show Dave is it's a 47-minute masterpiece. And I watched that and thought, my goodness, the gift of tone, surprise, performance, vulnerability, everything. Wow. So I've got those three for you.
All right. Well, yeah, those are three I haven't seen, so those are pretty good picks.
There you go.
Hashtag AmFad, All My Friends Are Dead comes out in theaters on demand August 2nd. I would recommend theaters. This would be a great movie to watch with a group. I think this is like certain movies you can watch by yourself. This is one that like I think kind of levels up when you're amongst friends and other theater goers.
Well, thank you. And by all means, check out our trailer. It was made to really sell what the tone is. And I think that thank you for saying so. Because when we were so fortunate, we sold out 3 screenings and the Tribeca Fest, and to watch the silhouettes laugh, jump in unison, that's an unrivaled just high. That's such a marvelous experience. So yes, this August 2nd, we're going to be in some theaters, and like we're in an era where that's not always guaranteed. You can make a great movie and someone might delete it. We're coming to theaters August 2nd. Like we'd love to see you there. And if the theater is just simply too far away, we're on demand. You can demand us wherever you wish us. Thank you. Thank you for this time. And please stay through the credits. Please.
Marcus, thanks for joining me. And yeah, check it out August 2nd. If you watch it at home, smoke weed while you do it at certain points.
Yeah, I mean, you've got that option. You have that option with any movie, but with this one, there, if you wait for the word or see the word goat.
All right. Thanks, Marcus.